Well, we're back in Dale, and it was a bit windy coming in, and not that windy, but it wasn't much fun trying to deal with the strength of wind, about 8 knots of wind. With the electric engine, I just wasn't confident with it at all, and I didn't start the main engine. So I think next time, if there's any wind at all, I'm going to have to start the main engine. And so I didn't get on the mooring. I found it was easier in a difficult situation. I just put the boat into the wind as well as it could, and the electric engine helped to hold it past the point where, without the electric engine, the sail was sailing fully. It needed the electric engine to put it through the turn just to get stop the mainsail from flapping, really. And I was able to get the sail down. And once I got the sail down, I just put the anchor in. And we're here, I'll show you where we are. We're just off the pontoon here. There's the pontoon over there. That boat just pulled in. I watched him pull in, and yeah, it was quite interesting to study. The same issue as me, except the wind wasn't as strong. Okay, now there is a nice place on the other side in easterlies, north and south easterly winds in West Angle Bay here where we were, right near the beach. And so when the wind gets stronger here, I'm probably going to head over to there, and it's not very far. You can see it's just over here. How far is it? Oh, just under 2 miles, that's all it is really. And so, but at the moment I'm anchored over here and we're quite close. This is the slipway where we saw the bass, the big bass, 3 big bass over there. And so see how far that is away from us. That's only 0.2 nautical mile, which is a really good distance to do there and back in the dinghy on the electric motor. And so what I thought was, when I feel like it in a minute, I'm going to get my fishing rod out with a spinner on it, or a jig, and I'm going to motor over there, and because it's good tide at the moment, the tide's in, and I'm going to throw a spinner into there where I saw those bass and see if I can get one of them, because we've run out of food and I've eaten the last of the bacon and eggs. So if we don't catch some fish, we're going to have to do something else, aren't we? Here's our outfit that we're going to use to get it. It's a Penn Squidder. It's built for this sort of work, and that's the jig that we're going to use. Well, I've had my porridge. What do we do now? I find if you just chuck this stuff into a bucket of seawater, it dissolves off after a while, and when you feel like dealing with it, it's all pretty much soaked off, and it's just food for the fishes, really. It's good because I don't use any soap or anything like that. I don't like to. I don't even wash with soap if I can help it, because I feel soap's one of the most dangerous substances on the planet, and you should only use it if you've got heavily soiled stuff, like if you've been working on a car or something like that. You've got grease on your hands. You don't really need to. You don't need to really use soap much. I find you can actually. Like my frying pan, I just wipe out, the grease goes on a paper towel and it gets thrown in the rubbish. And what's left cleans up in plain water, really. So I've kind of eliminated soap, except, there are times if you've got smelly hands from dealing with a fish or something like that, you might need a bit of soap. Anyway, it's been interesting because I've been pretty well stuck here in Dale, really. I thought I was going to go and get my car, but I haven't, and I have to feel my way through each step of my life. I don't operate according to a plan. If you watch the channels like Vice Grip Garage, this is the best channel on YouTube. This is the channel that I look forward to watching the most of all my subscriptions, Vice Grip Garage. This fellow Derek, he's a bit like me, except with cars, because what he does is he just follows his nose and each step at a time, and everything works out in the end. And he hasn't really got a plan, much of a plan. Well, Derek has a bit of a plan. I have no plan at all, really. And so I'm open to the vagaries of the universe. And at the moment, the universe doesn't want to move me around. It wants me to stay here, hang out in Dale, and relax and recover, really. I feel that I've had a lot of difficult experiences lately. Some people that I thought were my friends kind of let me down, and so I've had to turn away from them. And so I suppose ripening all of this process and finding out what comes next is part of life, really, and not to try to force it. And so I've been watching a few YouTube videos here. I have my little mouse which goes on my little book here, and I can use the internet with my computer over here. And so I've got everything that I have at home, really. If I want to go to the toilet, I can get in my dinghy and go and use the toilet in Dale. So, you know, I'm not polluting anything here or anything like that. So everything's good. That the wind has come up a few times, and I've thought maybe it's time to go. But every time I poke my head out there, no, it's not. It's just there's no wish or desire to pull the sail up and leave. And I know I do this because I did this recently. I pulled the sail up and went over to Dale and messed around over there, and then I stayed there for a while, pulled the sail up, came over here. And but now I seem a little bit stuck. And submitting to this is, well, it's not really a challenge. For many people it would be a challenge. And to know that the universe eventually will move me. And it has been unusual weather at the moment as far as sailing goes. There's been a lot of becalmed situation with a little bit of wind in the afternoon, perhaps a bit in the morning. And so the temptation is to go running off somewhere, but I haven't felt it. And so normally, because there's Ireland over there, I could go over to Ireland. If I go over to Ireland, I've got to eventually be moving the boat back up to Anglesey and so on. So the winds have to be, over a sequence of time, have to be heading in the right direction. And I can't work that out. I don't know when that's going to be. Only nature knows that. And so I have to wait for the call. Whenever I go somewhere in the boat, I'm never battling against the elements or whatever. If I am, it's because it just needs to wait a little while before everything comes into operation. And so I have to trust that nature knows what's best for me. And this way of thinking is foreign to most people. Most people don't trust, so they live in fear. And they might not do anything for fear of what might happen to them. I'm the opposite of that. If I fear anything, like if I fear to go sailing now, let's say I don't feel like, it's not fear, it's like I don't feel like going sailing now. If I don't feel like going sailing now, I just don't do it. If I don't feel like getting up, I don't get up. If I don't feel like lying down, I don't feel like, if I don't feel like going to bed, I don't go to bed. And everything I do when I feel like it. And I don't eat porridge very often, but this morning I felt like making porridge, and I did, and I put it on the film for you. So I never eat porridge, but for some reason I got this big bag of porridge just before I left, and so it's quite a good economical feed, although it does use up quite a bit of honey. I don't really like eating it too much without the honey. I can live with just porridge and water's okay, I can live without the milk, but the honey And yeah, so porridge and honey, it's not bad stuff, and you can live on it, and it's good for you too. So um, it's interesting. Now I want to talk to you about vitamin D, because there's been a little bit in the news about vitamin D lately, and I want to tell you my own experience, because ever since the COVID business, I've been getting predominantly worse at healing little cuts and things like that. And so I've had sort of spots on me, rashes on me, that just stay, and you know, they just don't heal properly. And so this went on for over a year, really, that I was in this situation. And then when I came to the boat, and I had this 2 weeks of out in the sun, and my lips got burnt and everything like that, one thing I noticed was that after 2 weeks, all my sores that I'd had on my skin from a bad skin condition had all healed up. And it wasn't from washing, it was the only thing it could be was from what I was eating and the sun. And then I did a bit of research on vitamin D, and apparently you make vitamin D in sunlight. And so I put two and two together, I read the symptoms, and the symptoms are definitely a vitamin D thing. And it occurred to me that there must be many, many people suffering from this vitamin D problem of not getting enough vitamin D. I haven't supplemented my vitamin D. I probably will want to do that, or find some way of eating things that have vitamin D, or give you vitamin D. I did read that eggs and stuff like that have vitamin D, and so I have been eating a lot more eggs than I normally eat. So that might be helping. Now, I just wanted to say that after a year of suffering with this sort of weak immune system, 2 weeks on this boat in the sun, and it's all fixed. And there must be a lot of people who don't get enough sun, especially with the internet. I spend a lot of time on the internet, and I'm finding that as I'm not going out in the sun, because I've been covering myself from the sun to heal my my lip here, I've not been going out in the sun, and I feel this condition of my skin is coming back again, and that it does actually need more sunlight or some sort of form of vitamin D supplement to actually solve this problem. So there you go, vitamin D, something to consider. And yeah. Now, one more thing. Something has to happen soon. I have to have something change to allow me to sail off this anchorage. I don't know what it is, but if anybody's got any idea, post me a message. Get me moving, because it needs some outside stimulus for this boat to move. Where should this boat be going next? Can anybody tell me? Please tell me. I would like to know.